Hey everybody, welcome back. TV Bin Podcast Episode 8. This is the simulcast that we're doing on YouTube. We have part 2, or just a continuation, with Craig from Hurry Up Pinball. We had so much fun. Man, we went like 45 minutes last time, and could have kept going and kept going, and we kept going in between while we weren't recording, and we finally had to just start recording again to get more, but... So Craig's back. Hurry Up Pinball, his wonderful channel on Twitch and YouTube. We will have links there for you to go check out all the fine work he is doing over there. So some of the stuff he does some streaming. He does some instructional videos. You also do some Playfield lights, so some stuff we want to kind of talk about in this. So you were with your list of topics that you said you demanded. Oh, yeah. This is like your writer, like, this, no red M&Ms. We are going to talk about this or I will not show up. So Craig's writer, he wanted to talk about his first Playfield swap, which that is a task to jump into, definitely.
Have you done I suspect you've probably done some Playfield swaps, right?
Kinda.
It's a rite of passage.
Yeah, I've done a lot of
passage.
I don't think I ever ended up pulling off I don't think I pulled off the lighting the harness. I think I've gone way down on one, but I was going to do a full swap on a fire, I believe, but then it ended up not happening. But yeah, but I've been, fully apart everything, but
you
not.
You want to know how you make your wife upset?
I could give you about 50 reasons how to do that. What's
pinball related?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there's probably 50 of those too.
Yeah.
Wash a wiring harness in your dishwasher.
Honestly, I don't think that would make her mad. I might be wrong.
Really? That's awesome.
Yeah, I don't think she would get mad about that.
Yeah.
Well, she probably wouldn't know.
Lucky, we have in our basement, we have like a separate area with like a bar, and luckily we have a dishwasher down there.
Cool.
So whenever I do that, it's not going in the main dishwasher.
So you got like your parts
washer. Yeah, she's like, what are you doing? I'm like, check it out. It's so dirty. It's going to come out clean. She's like, where is all that going? I'm like, I'll run like 7 cycles and clean it out.
Yeah, I'll just run a rinse cycle again. It'll be fine. Who cares?
It smells fresh. Check it out. So on the Playfield swaps, I was just curious, I know you've been in pinball for a long time, but I ended up tackling, when I sold, we were talking about arcade games earlier. I actually, and this is probably, it's another one of those bad deals, me just not knowing.
You got to learn. Yeah.
Yeah. I had a Star Wars arcade with the, it played through the 3 episodes, has the joystick.
Oh, yeah.
Not the one you sit in, but the stand-up version. This is big. It was a beast.
Yeah.
So what ended up happening was I was up at a place local, which I won't name, but I was looking at a game, and they had a fun house. And I always liked fun house. The cabinet was in really good shape. The playfield was pretty thrashed. And I went in there and said, hey, what do you guys want for this? Definitely going to need a lot of work. And I decided I'm going to tackle some sort of a restoration project.
That's a lot going on in that game.
Time. Yeah, there's a lot. Not an easy one to start with. So anyways, I go in there and we're talking figures. And I said, well, I got some arcade games that I'm probably looking to get rid of. And he said, okay, well, what do you got? I said, well, I've got a golden tee.
Okay.
Which when moving into my house, I dropped that 400-pound cabinet on my legs. So it's not a fun one to move.
Lucky
that
you're
TV's
walking.
Heavy, seriously.
Oh yeah, I moved a couple by myself around. It's
brutal.
That's no prize.
I was, I had it for a while, just ready to move on. So I said, hey, look, I have a golden tee. Here's what I'm looking to get for it, and I have a Star Wars arcade. So those two things, are we getting close to Funhouse? Because it was worn out, like everything needed to be done on it.
Yeah.
So we go back and forth, and I think I ended up cutting him a check for $2,400, and I gave him both of those arcade games for Funhouse.
A blown out Funhouse.
A blown out Funhouse. So I get it home.
Not as bad as your Addams Family deal, I guess, but.
So, but here's the thing: I start working on it. Get it home. And it had been in a warehouse, they were out some games, and I open it up, and I'm like, what is that thing? I'm like, that's a damn stink bug. That's nasty. Get that out of here.
Yeah.
I start going through the game, and they start coming out of the back box. And they start coming out of the mechs, and they start coming out of Rudy's mouth. I'm like, this is like terrifying.
You have any video of that?
I'm scared. No, I don't.
Just crawling out?
Yeah, and I'm like, oh, man. And every time I was in there with a vacuum. Wow. And then I'm like, okay, I've got to pull this thing completely apart. So I pull out all the connections in the back box, get the Playfield out. I build my own rotisserie because I'm like, I got to have a rotisserie for this. It's going to be a nightmare. So I build a little rotisserie out of pipes from plans that I found online. And I set everything up in there. And then I start taking inventory once I have the Playfield out. And I'm like, oh, great. Here we go.
Yep.
All right. This is broken. This is broken. Rudy's jaw's broken. So I start
we'll
going through all this
game
stuff.
from that era, that was probably a lot of operator fixes just to keep her going, you know?
Yeah, that Rudy's eyes and his mouth are notorious for breaking.
Yeah.
So I start taking all this stuff apart, and then I'm like, I need new ramps. You know, the flipper mechanisms are completely worn out.
Yeah.
And it was intimidating, but it really got me on track to like, okay, now I have to learn how to solder.
Yeah.
That is the key thing. I tell people, if you get a pinball
you got to jump in the
machine,
fire.
you're going to have to jump in the fire.
Yeah.
Learn how to get a good soldering iron.
Yeah, don't be scared.
Spend $100, $120, get a good soldering iron where you can set temperature and just jump in. Soldering is not that hard. I went to Goodwill and I picked up a printer, an old printer. And I took the plastics off it. I took the boards out.
That's a good idea.
And I just practiced working. It cost me $5.
Yeah.
So
that's a good idea.
That's how I learned a solder. But going through that game, I went through everything. I pulled all the harnesses. I pulled all the switches out. I bought a tumbler. I bought an ultrasonic cleaner.
Yep.
And I ended up doing it. I was going to keep the original Playfield, and then I just realized I'm going to make this thing look so nice, but the Playfield looks like crap. So then I bought a Playfield. So I bought
Lord.
Did
you get CPR or?
I think it was Mirko.
Oh, okay.
So had the Mirko Playfield, and then you're like, okay, well, if I'm going to do this, you know, they tell you with the clear coat, use the drill, and you like tap the holes because if you don't, you can
start
crack
slow.
the clear coat.
Yeah.
So I'm going through all this, but it was a really good experience. It was a little terrifying because I'm like, yeah, I have this thing which I paid a ton of money for. It's in pieces now.
Yeah.
And yours truly, who's never worked on anything like this before.
Did you take a lot of good pictures though? Did you know that lesson early on?
No.
Oh.
Yeah. I know that now.
Yeah.
So
Lots
to give you an
pictures.
example, with the tumbler, I took all of the hardware out and I had it kind of separated-ish. Yeah. And I was like, we're going to tumble bolts.
Yeah.
Everything went in the tumbler, mixed together.
It's different
and
sizes.
I took it out. Yes.
Yeah, I know.
And the hardest part of that whole thing was figuring out where the hardware went. And
so you're putting together a 5,000 piece puzzle.
It is a 5,000 piece puzzle with no instructions.
Yeah. No picture to go by.
There's no picture.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, I think this post... That was the worst part. So, again, learning along the way, and that's what I try and do in some of my videos, is give people tips to where they don't have to make some of those big mistakes I made. When I did a Flash Gordon Restore, when I did Diner... I took so many pictures. At some point I need to upload these somewhere because somebody else is going to be like, what post goes here? And I'm just thinking I need to have like a database of these images. So at least for these games, you can help some other folks out.
Yeah.
But
that's a good service.
But I'll tell you, going through that game, the next one was so much easier. So now, but I do, when I see games, I'm way more picky. I have a better sense of what they're worth. And you know, I'm like, am I going to put a new Playfield in this, or am I going to keep this one? Because that's going to be your biggest cost. You know, are the ramps broken or are they not broken?
Yeah, you've got to start taking a lot into account there. But no, I was guilty. I took pictures early on and stuff I was working on where I was going, you know, totally stripping it down. And there were a few times about, oh, I'm going to remember that. And I'm like, no, I'm not.
You remember for about an hour.
Yeah, you're like, oh, no, I know that post goes there. No, you don't. You don't. So if you're doing it, listen to Craig, watch his videos, but also, there are not enough pictures you can take.
Take pictures, take more pictures, and then take more pictures.
Yeah, take a picture
when
of
you
the
take
picture.
Off a section, stick it in a Ziploc bag. Put the plastics in there, especially if you're going to replace plastics. Put the plastics in with the hardware, in with the post for that little section. Label it. Take a picture of the bag on the playfield where it goes.
Yeah.
And your life will be so much better.
Yeah. That's a good point. Yeah, go in sections. That's also something to remember. Yeah, do it in sections, and you know, everybody's probably got their own little quirk and thing they do here and there. But yeah, you've got to. There's not enough notes or pictures. You gotta keep it.
Especially the older games, it's hard to find. The newer ones, you just have node boards and mechs, so they're not really that complicated. To be honest, if
a lot
something goes
less
bad,
wiring. Yeah.
You want to talk about being a little scared? I just soldered a connection on my 2.0 light boards, which is like, I think the word is micro solder.
Yeah.
And I had two. The L and the I were out in line.
Oh.
And I pulled it off the board off, and I'm like, this ain't under warranty. I'm like,
got to do it.
Screw it.
Yeah.
And I got it, and I fixed it.
Yeah.
It's scary, though. I definitely realized I need a tinier solder.
Oh, just the point, yeah.
Yeah, but I got it.
So what was it? Just a cracked solder joint, or what had happened
like
on that?
The light.
I don't have any experience with those.
Yeah, the pad where it was soldered into the contact point. I guess 2 of the connectors had snapped.
Huh.
It almost looked like the LED that was on the node board had gotten hit. So it was only hanging on. Sorry, I keep shaking the camera.
It's fine. It's fine.
It was only hanging
We're
on
on a
by
card
one.
table here. It's fine.
It was only hanging on by one, so I just went through and I'm like, you know what? I'm either gonna have to buy this board and they're probably gonna charge me $100 for it at least.
Or try.
Yeah, I'm gonna try. And I'm like, I got nothing to lose because if I try and solder this, as long as I don't burn the board or melt everything.
Well, yeah, that's the point.
Work,
yeah, just quick bursts of heat. You don't want to just park a soldering iron on a board. That's
I used to solder everything at 700.
Yeah,
and lately I've been Actually, here's the crazy thing. I've been getting a lot quicker at soldering. I've been taking it to 800 on some of those bigger things because it's just much quicker. It's like, okay, it's liquid, it's off.
Yeah, if you do it quick,
yeah. But I've had some when I first started. You can see when you look at those boards. I started doing board repair, and you can see on the boards. You see those brown marks, and like
you lingered a little too long.
Yeah, you start lifting traces, man, and that's when things start going south. Yeah. So, that's why I bought the printer. And
no, that's very smart.
Desoldering pump.
Oh, yeah.
Desoldering pump is worth every penny.
Yeah, I bought one.
I sold a game, and I took part of the money from selling the game to buy a desoldering pump. And, man, you want to talk about switching out integrated circuits and stuff easily.
Yeah. Just boom, boom,
it's a way to go.
Yeah, I bought one earlier this year. I had done... I had done a G07 for Miss Pac-Man. I had done a flyback replacement on that, and I was like, after this, I was doing soldering wick.
The flyback is like the brick looking piece, kind of, right? There's a flyback. Flyback's the one that goes to the back of the monitor.
No, well, the flyback, yeah. So the flyback is the big transformer that does all the big voltage up.
Oh,
yeah,
that's right. Okay.
So yeah, the anode is actually comes off of the flyback. That's what you're seeing with the anode. But so that one, there's depending on the model, there's 10 or 12 solder points, and it's kind of in a circle.
Mine exploded in my Mortal Kombat too.
Okay.
We were playing.
Would you have a Hanatrex?
I
doubt it was a Wells Gardner.
Yeah, Wells Gardner.
Was it a Wells Gardner? Because they did Hanatrex and Wells Gardners in those, I believe.
Yeah, it was a Wells Gardner. But I remember we were playing Golden Tee right next to it.
Yeah.
And it was just on, and it went
boom,
boom.
Yeah.
And then I see smoke come out. I just looked at my wife. I'm like, that's not good.
Yeah, those can crack, or there's.
Yeah, it was split.
Yeah.
I was like, wow.
But I did that with soldering wick and a solder pump or solder sucker. I'm sorry.
I did that too.
Yeah, and it was brutal. I was like, that's it. I'm done. I'll spend the money. And yeah, I did some AR2 repair work for some Atari stuff Troy had.
Yeah.
And oh man, what a difference! Just just hit that
You
thing twice, and the component just falls right out. Just boom.
Yep. Yeah.
It's worth it. Yeah. So if you can afford it, get one. What did I get? A Hacko? I think it was a Hacko brand.
Hacko gun and the soldering iron.
I actually bought
soldering
myself.
Iron's worth every penny.
Well, I bought a new soldering iron just for here. I've got the one that I take with me if I have to go work on something.
You got a cart? You
roll out a little. I got like a Japanese food cart. Like I'm coming out to cook.
He's like, what do you got? This one need new pinballs. Like, hey, we got wax over here. We can do this.
Well, I've got the tool bag. Yeah, I've got the tool bag, and then I've got. I usually leave. Don't rob me. I leave a ton of stuff in the one car that I take because I'm like, oh well, if I need it, it's in there. I'm good to go. Yeah. But
I haven't got to the point where we're a headlight yet when I'm working.
I don't need one yet. My eyes work good enough right now. I don't need a headlight on a lot of stuff.
I'm getting there though. Eventually, I will.
So you have another little thing here. You have a person you will not name.
Oh, he who shall remain nameless.
Yes. Oh, well, let me put the camera on you. Sorry, I fell asleep.
Oh, it's all right.
You're on. I do that about once an episode where I just leave a camera running. I'm trying to talk to somebody.
That's a lot going on.
Yeah, I'm busy over here. Yeah, but I forget to switch the camera every now and then.
No, so what is it, about almost 2 years ago? I had Twilight Zone, which I absolutely loved, and the only reason I sold it is to buy an Attack from Mars. I knew that was the only way I was gonna kind of finance it.
Good call.
I went through it, made it nice, of course, and put all these mods in it, and then sold it. And,
well, I would like a Twilight Zone just for
I keep trying to get Troy to buy one for the arcade, just because I want to come in and play it.
It's a lot of maintenance though, but
yeah, it is.
I want one just for like a week, just to play for a little while, and then be done with it.
It's magic. It's
but I don't want to keep one. I just want to play one for a week. I just want access. That's something that
I got lost in the zone twice in one game in that, and I was like, okay, I've seen it all.
You didn't Playfield Swap that one, did you?
No, but I almost did. I was at that point where I thought about Playfield swapping that.
That would have been what, a month at least, right?
Luckily, I never had to take my gumball. The gumball is the thing. I never want. I never. The plastics are stacked in the back, and I have one light that was out, and it was just way too much work to get to it. I'm like, you know what? Screw it. That'll be the one thing on this game I ain't touching. So John, if you watch this, I just want to know: have you gone and replaced that light in the back? So
probably not.
No, I sold. So I sold Twilight Zone to John. Met him through the sale. A really cool guy.
So local guy.
No, down in Florida actually.
Oh, Florida. Okay.
So he connected me with two other guys that he got to know through pinball, and one of them, who shall remain nameless, we call him the Oracle.
You should call him Voldemort.
Oh,
if you can't name his name,
Voldemort.
Yeah.
All right, so we'll call him Voldemort.
So Voldemort
is this guru when it comes to System 11s. And it just so happens at that time, a lot of us were actually taking on restore projects. Like I was working on...
so this wasn't Funhouse, right?
No, this wasn't Funhouse. And I might mess up my System 11 timelines here, so none of those pinball people out there won't give me any
honestly,
crap.
Funhouse is a WPC.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's not even a System 11.
So I was working on a System 11 game, and I can't remember which one, but... they were like, send a text to Voldemort. Voldemort's really
very good. You're rolling with it well.
Yeah, I'm trying because it keeps.
Well, and your channel is got the Harry Potter music that we said.
Yes,
so
it does.
Just keep thinking that. So there you go.
All right. So Voldemort is a guru when it comes to especially the System 11 stuff.
Yeah.
And knows it backwards and forwards. So I'm like, hey, I got a problem with this or this, and he'll be like, okay, check this line, and he's done this when he's been out with his wife and kids, and I can tell he's not sitting in front of the manual.
Yeah.
So Voldemort's like, check this. This is how much volts should be running through this. Okay, take your power power meter and reverse it and check this. Oh, that's low. Here's your problem. And he'll go like 4 steps backwards and be like, "This what? Check this."
Well,
and he'll be like, "Yep, there's your broken."
Would it give it too much away? Was he more than just a enthusiast or a collector?
This is the best part of it.
Okay.
So, as I get to know more about Voldemort, he has a job that requires him to disappear for extended periods of time.
How do you get that job?
Yeah, seriously.
Sign me up.
So he would be in text change and then he would disappear at some point. And,
no warning.
And we're like, where's Voldemort? And we'll be like, oh, he's doing a thing. So... but he'll come back.
He's fighting Harry Potter.
Yeah, he'll catch up. Yeah, exactly. So he'll catch up. So one of the days I actually start texting with him, and I'm like, he walks me through a complicated issue, and I'm like, how did you get to be so good at this? And he's like, I've just been around and I worked on these a lot. And he goes, and I have an undergraduate in electrical engineering. And I'm like, there it is. Voldemort, I knew it.
There we go.
And he goes, and a master's in nuclear engineering.
Wow.
And I was like,
so smart guy.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you tie all those things together.
Yeah.
He is the Oracle. But the best part is in our text chains. We have one guy who's just starting to get into restores. And he's constantly going, oh, what'd you do today? And he'd be like, oh, I showed Voldemort how to change sling pop bumpers or something like that. So they're constantly ribbing on each other. But he is the absolute Oracle. And I know whenever I have a serious issue that I can't solve, he is the guy. If I do that lamp matrix tutorial, Voldemort will be reviewing that before I ever let the world see
Probably a good call.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, if you need my help, I went to 2 semesters of electronics school. That's it. And I'm a high school graduate.
I got kicked out of my high school electronics class. The one that I actually really liked.
I wish I'd had one in high school.
Yeah, we had one. And the teacher, his name was Mr. Decker, and we called him the Black and Decker Pecker Wrecker because he was just mean.
Wow. That's pretty good. I wonder if my wife took that class. I know she did not.
No, this was New York. This wasn't North Mac.
Oh, no, North Mac. Okay.
Yeah, so.
Yeah, I wish there was more electronic stuff in school.
We were almost to that point where I was about to figure out how to make, with the 9-volt battery, the shockers that will like put people on the floor.
Yeah.
This is what I'm here for.
With some capacitor stuff and yeah. charge those up.
But yeah, Voldemort, the one thing that I definitely know about Voldemort is he likes those orange cheese crackers. So anytime somebody...
Cheese crackers. Oh, like the lances or something?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So anytime somebody helps him out a lot, he always ends up getting a brick of orange cheese crackers.
That seems... Yeah.
It's a good trade-off.
Yeah, that's worth it. All this knowledge and get some crackers out of it.
So I owe Voldemort a lot of favors. I'll put it that way.
Good. So. Well, he wasn't part of your early abuse system.
No. The back room
right?
at the arcade.
Yeah. Hey.
You shall remain nameless.
Creating Horcruxes.
Look, a candy machine.
Yeah, look. Yeah. Buy those for me.
A lot of exposure to pinball.
A lot of exposure in pinball.
Oh man.
So did Voldemort help you with developing your Playfield Light alternatives and things like that?
No,
that was all you?
The Playfield Lights was so obviously there's somebody out there, we all know who they are, that makes Playfield Lights.
Yeah.
Unfortunately for me, I just can't justify
it's ridiculous.
The cost.
Yeah.
I can't. When I have 6 machines, I can't spend that to put them in there. So I started looking at it. I ended up going through some forums and finding information on kind of like they call it the poor man stadium lighting.
Yeah.
So I was looking through that, and it was just another one of those things.
You should just call them poor stadiums.
Poor stadiums, yeah.
Would you get in trouble for that?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I call them Playfield Lights, so there's a line,
Yeah.
And everybody be like, these don't tie into the flashers. They're not stadium lights. I'm like, whatever. We don't need to get into all that. I'm like, I'm building these for me, and if anybody else wants to build them, here's the way to do it.
Are you tying yours into GI so they turn off in modes, or is it just on all the time?
No, they're on all the time.
Oh, okay.
I have all the stuff to tie it in. I haven't done it yet, honestly.
Do you really care?
Yeah, and you start getting into different voltages. And again, this is where Voldemort comes in handy if I ever go this route.
Yeah. What are your strips running? 5 volt?
They are I believe they're the 12 volt.
Oh, they're 12? Okay.
Yeah, they're 12 volt because you have RGB and W.
Oh, okay.
Lights, so they're the 12 volt. So I use the power brick because my thought is a lot of these node boards, from what I've read, especially
they're flaky.
They're flaky and they run kind of right on their limits. So if you start taxing them a little bit, you can start messing up some of the boards. So I use the power brick.
Yeah,
it's so
but
easy.
you've got little to no amperage coming through on an LED strip like that, though. Yeah, if it was a strip of incandescence or something, it would be. But
I'm that cautious.
But
guy.
no, it's worth it because you don't want to go through your game's down. Going through a node board replacement. They might. If you plug something in, and if you plug something in that wasn't approved, then it's a non-warranty thing. Yeah. So what are they, about $100 a pop?
Yeah, about.
Yeah.
Some of the bigger ones get up there.
Have you had one fail yet? I know it's all. You
gotta ask me that right now.
Oh. No,
not yet.
Me neither. But I've heard a lot of issues. But I have not had one node board. I've not heard of one failing. Out of anybody I know.
And that's part of the reason why I got a little bit away from the Williams game, the Bally Williams games that everybody knows and loves.
Yeah.
It's just a lot of work. It ends up being a lot of work to keep them up and running.
They
sometimes.
are, yeah.
And that being said, my Iron Maiden right now has this really weird thing where when you turn it on, you hit the start button, plunges the ball, or you plunge it, and then it cuts the power for about a half second, and on the lower part of the playfield, and then it comes right back on, and everything's fine for the rest of the game.
Wow.
It's like the power supply needs to warm up in like a section. It's really weird.
You need to ask Voldemort.
I know. I need to ask.
I've not seen that one before. That's different.
Yeah. You know what's weird is I sent that video to Stern and asked him about it. I didn't hear back, which was kind of odd because I thought they'd be like, "Oh, finally something weird."
Yeah.
I might try again though, but
send it to Chaz.
Chaz?
Yeah.
Okay. You got Chaz's email?
It's, I think, in all the manuals.
Oh, perfect.
Too. Yeah, Chaz is one of the tech support guys.
What happens if Chaz isn't there?
No, Chaz should still be there, I believe. Yeah, Chaz has always been really helpful.
I need to do that. It's something where it's not really affecting things. It's only when it starts up in that first ball.
That's odd.
And it only sucks when you're trying to flip the flipper.
But only when you turn the game on. So if you played a game, let it end, did another game, it won't do it.
If it's been on for more than 5 seconds and you flip the flippers and all that,
then it
doesn't do it. It's almost like it warms up. It's like a diesel. It's really strange. It's like it's warmed up, so it won't do it anymore.
It's like you got a bag cap in the power supply. Yeah,
it's It's like boom.
I think you got a cap somewhere that's just not.
I might just replace the power supply. But
that one's. I've not been in those power supplies.
125
Spike 2s.
Yeah,
those are a little bit different. Did you change the fan out in it?
No.
Oh, so it's noisy like old Jurassic back here?
You have to say that. It's going to come on now. You know that, right?
It just turned off, so I think it's due. It's due.
Going to come on again?
I want to know. Yeah. I need to time it and see how long, what are the intervals. I guess it would depend on the ambient temperature in the room and if it's being played or not, but... It's just sitting there right now. And if you are astute enough, you can tell also behind me. So I have Jurassic Park. And then I also have a Jurassic Park translite next to the Jurassic Park, which is the same translite as what's in the game because I'm weird. And then if you're really astute, way behind me is a Tron.
I see the Tron translite.
Because I got the 3D one over.
See, I was starting to get to the point where I'm like, I'm going to start hanging some of these old Playfields on the wall. My wife's like, no. Nope. I'm like, come on.
I guarantee you I could hang a Playfield in this room and she wouldn't notice it for maybe ever.
Hang it on the outside of the door.
She'd never notice it. I'm telling you, she would not. She thought I still had Medieval Madness, and I have not had that game in a home environment since we've lived in this house.
See, you know what screws me over whenever I'm going to want to buy something? You know what gets me? Is every time I go to pick up a pin with my truck, it rains.
Oh yeah, that's common.
So
yeah,
I figured out that my wife's Honda Pilot is the perfect car for picking up pins. Tons of room in there, great, everything lays down.
Pilot is pretty good for that, yeah.
So
I was thinking CRV, but no, Pilot, yeah.
Every time I go and get a pin, it's always like, hey, can I borrow your car tomorrow? She's like,
what are you doing?
What do you need my car for? And I'm like, picking up a pin. She's like, which one? Because now she's at the point she's playing more and more. Now she wants to know what I'm getting. Nice.
So my primary, I did a truck for years, and I had a truck for years too, but I stopped moving pinballs in them because, again, every time it was going to rain or there was a possibility of rain or you just didn't want to take the risk of anything, so you're wrapping them up, you're doing all the things. So 2002 Yukon is the answer
to your problems.
Oh man, that thing is ultimate for the pin hauling. It's low to the ground. You got the hatchback in there. It's plenty. I can get two in there. Yeah. I've done that plenty of times. It's perfect.
Rob, if you're out there, I've borrowed your minivan twice.
Who's Rob?
No. He's a buddy of mine.
Not Voldemort?
No, it's not Voldemort.
You didn't slip and give Voldemort's name?
No, Rob.
I have to edit.
Rob's loaned me his minivan to drive to Ohio to pick some stuff up. And I actually think once I borrowed it, and I had 2 games in the back of that thing. So we're at that point at some point we're getting a new car. And I'm at that point in my life where like I don't care if it's a minivan or not. If I can get 2 pins in there and be comfy, all the better.
2002 Yukon. You can find them all day. Get on Craigslist right now.
Yeah, seriously.
That's most of the reason why I bought it, and it costs less than a pin.
Yeah, I'm just tired of asking. Like, can I borrow your car? It becomes a big
Works
thing.
in the rain. It's everything. And that was the other thing. Like, I would not do this in the summer, but every now and then when you had an early morning to go trade a game or do something, I can go ahead and just put the game in the car the day before.
Yeah.
You're not getting up while you're drinking coffee and getting sweaty loading a game. It's already in there. You just go.
Ready to go.
You're ready.
I know exactly what you're saying. I've done that once or twice before.
Get it.
So I can roll out.
Yeah. You just hop in the car and go. You're not like, oh, God, I got to take the legs off and load it.
I'm sorry. We were talking Playfield lights, man. We're getting all over the place.
Nothing new. Yeah.
We're the Playfield lights, I think, kind of getting back to that, I started building. I couldn't really justify the cost for
that cost is outrageous
in 6 machines.
Yeah.
And I just started looking at it, and again, I was in the poor man's the poor stadiums, I think is what
poor stadium on, right? Yeah. So, I'm copywriting that.
Yeah, seriously.
Well, just give me a credit.
I got in there and I just started digging around. I thought, just like the Playfield Swap and some of the other stuff, like I bet I can do this.
Yeah.
So I need to find out where to get parts. And then, it's a lot easier than you think. And went through and decided I'm going to build my first set. And then by the time I got to my 3rd set of lights, I'm like, okay, I figured out how to do this. I figured what's good, what's not. And they've been working great ever since. So all my streams are the lights that I built for myself. And I always take pride in like stuff like that, where it's like, look, I did this on my own. Yeah. Some plans and some ideas,
Well, you can see just from looking at your channel that you are one of those, kind of perfectionists, not in a bad way type guys, but when you're putting your mods on, when you were building your streaming rig and all those things that you're doing it right. You're doing it.
Just because it's just me. I know if I cut corners, I'm going to see it. If when a game's something's going on with the game, or there's a light that's out. I just can't look at it. I'm like, I gotta fix that.
Unless it's in a Twilight Zone.
I'm that idiot that will spend, unless it's in Twilight Zone. But I'm that idiot that'll spend $1 on a light bulb and then pay $8.99 for priority shipping. And you're just what are you doing? I'm like, I should just order a giant pack of light bulbs so I maximize shipping.
That's why I always have about 100 on hand.
I got so many now. I have so many parts. I still have my old Addams Family ramp, I think, sitting around.
Is that the smoked one?
Yeah, the smoked one.
Oh, okay.
Still sitting around. Has a tiny little crack in it.
What are you going to do with it?
What, you need one?
No, I've got one on location that's doing nothing right now, but my ramp is fine right now, but we'll
it's
see.
Just sitting. You know what the funniest part
hasn't
about
been played
it?
Since March.
I have no plans for that ramp, but ever since I replaced them way back in 2017.
Yeah.
It's sitting, and it doesn't fit in any of my storage containers. So it sits on top, and every time I need something, I got to move it out of the way.
You want me to give you a little tour of all the crap that I've never gotten rid of?
You got the room?
Oh God, I've got
ramps. Are you going to expose me to pinball parts?
You just wait. You'll see what it's like. No, I kind of have an issue where I won't get rid of stuff. I've got parts for games that I sold years ago.
I think
that
I have
still have parts
6
for.
DMD screens in a box right now.
I got you beat. That's easy.
Do you?
Oh God, yeah.
I want one of those clocks. I want to turn one into a clock like.
I've got one.
The one that shows the animations from all the different games.
Yeah, I've actually got it at work.
Oh, do you?
Yeah, I liked it so much.
Is that the one in the arcade?
There's that's the large. Yeah. Okay. But yeah, it's the same thing.
I want one of those. I just want to stick it in my basement. It's so awesome.
I wanted one, and I kept looking around in here. I was like, I won't look at it in here in this room.
Yeah.
So I was like, I put it. So I work in television. That's all we're gonna say. So a lot of my job is looking at television to make sure. So I have 2 TVs in my office.
Yeah.
Well, in that area of my office, how many do I actually have in my office? More than 2. But in that area, I've got it mounted right under those 2 TVs, so I see it all the time. And it's funny, I'll just be sitting there watching something, and you'll see the animation for Sparky getting fried. It'll just random, and and his eyeballs pop out, and then it comes back.
So is that like a mod that you can do if you have the screen, or is that something you have to buy the whole?
You've got to buy whatever they're running that software with.
Oh, okay.
I'm not sure what they're actually doing it on, but it's really cool. So yeah,
I want to do that, and I want to build a nice frame for it, and then hang it on the wall.
I wanted to see one with like one of the Sega, the large, 192. DMD.
Was that like X-Files? Was that a Sega?
Yeah.
X-Files. They had that weird back box shape for a while.
Yeah, they had that. They called that the display cabinet, I believe, because I had. Crap! What's that movie? I just smacked the table. Sorry. Crap! Just went totally blank with all the bugs. I had the game. Yeah. That one.
Yeah.
I always do bad when I'm sitting in front of the camera. I can't name anything when I'm doing this.
Troopers?
Yes, Starship Troopers. Thank you. Yeah. Starship Troopers had that.
Wasn't Denise Richards in that movie?
Yes. Yeah, she was.
Yeah, remember that. And Charlie Sheen got a hold of her.
Well, like 20 years later, but. What was that main guy in that movie? Casper Van Diem or whatever that guy's name was?
Oh, I remember him.
Yeah, Starship Troopers was actually. I like the movie, but the game's actually fun. I'd have another one again if I didn't have to drag it up the stairs to get it in here. But that one's fun. But yeah, that's the display cabinet that they were doing near the end of the Sega stuff.
Yeah, the big fancy round.
Yeah. What else did? Space Jam had that too, I believe.
Yeah,
there was a handful of them.
I haven't seen too many of those lately. But like when I like X-Files, I'm like, I gotta play X-Files.
But it was actually really cool. Did you ever mess with one with those? So I've
been told to stay away from the System 80s. Like people do some tutorials on System 80s. I'm like, I don't know any, and from what I've heard, I don't want to buy one.
Nah, but what's really cool is they. With those display cabinet heads, they had on the top of the head, they had 2 brackets that would swing out, and that would rest for the head. So if you folded the head down,
gotcha.
It was really cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, it kind of looked stupid.
They were big, and like I'll tell you, when I bought my first Jersey Jack and I put it in the lineup with my other ones, I'm that guy. I'm like, I got to put it on the end or move it to the other side.
Oh, you want everything?
Yeah, everything. It's like because I don't do a lot of the topper stuff.
Yeah, I'm not unless we, like we discussed.
You got some good ones out.
Well, the Dracula one, and I'm not a topper guy. That I'm only a topper if it's made for the game. But Dracula, for some reason, the guy that I knew a long time ago, he had that on top of his, and he gifted it to me. Nice. So I wanted it. But otherwise, you don't see. Yes, I have the Black Knight topper and I have the Whitewater topper, but I don't do.
Yeah. It's something where toppers. I'm like, you know what? I unless it's a really cool topper and I really want it, like the Elvira topper. $1,000.
That was ridiculous.
I'm like, that's insane.
But here's what I don't get, and I think we've made fun of this before. I think I did with Troy on one of the videos. Like, you got Jurassic Park or Metallica or even, what's behind you, Spider-Man. They will do the topper that's just, all right, so it says on the translite behind you there, Spider-Man. They will do a topper, a foot above that says Spider-Man. And it's like, what are you doing? It's the same...
In case you forgot from looking here, it's right up here too.
There, down. Same thing with Iron Man, and I've seen them for Metallica and what else? Jurassic Park ones.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't have a problem with the '93 Jurassic Park from Data East. That's a cool looking topper, but it's just Metallica.
The Lost World. Wasn't that another one of the round ones?
Yes.
There you go.
Good.
That's the one I was trying to think of.
Whip it back around there. But yeah, I don't get those types of toppers.
That Black Knight topper is worth every penny, though. That thing is amazing.
He's really cool. And
if they made more, I would buy more toppers if they made more toppers like that.
I think they're going to do some more of that one. There's enough demand for that one. But
throwing a mode.
Oh, that topper is so silly. Yeah. I'll buy one if somebody will sell me one.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I'm an idiot.
No. But... You know what terrifies me? And this is kind of a little off topic, but you know what terrifies me is...
Being exposed in a back room?
Yeah. To pinball parts in a back room.
Hey, kid, you want to see my plunger?
Oh, my God, look at these balls. They're so dirty. You can't keep these in the machines.
Rub them. Anyway, so microtransactions like for the games and things?
I'm terrified that they're going to start doing microtransactions in pinball.
Have you been watching Ben Heck's channel or something? Because this is exactly what he was discussing with the future of gaming in general.
What I have a couple friends that have been game designers over the years, and they always talk about the different companies like Steam and the push towards microtransactions. It works for the companies, but
it's all part of their bottom line too. They're looking at it like, hey, we're going to make it back on this end. Yeah.
But for me, I just don't really want to see that. Call me old school, but I don't want to see that in pinball because it's not like we're buying a $50 game or we're buying a $2 outfit.
Yeah.
We're spending $5 to $8 to sometimes $10,000 on a pinball machine, and now you're going to have a microtransaction for a mode. And then it just doesn't sit with. I don't know if you saw. I read an article about the new line of BMWs, the 2021 BMWs.
There are microtransactions in that?
No, they're gonna start making BMWs that all have the features in them, but you can pay a monthly fee to activate things. You want a heated steering wheel?
Oh, come on.
You can pay X amount of dollars.
Actually, that's kind of cool.
It's kind of, and their whole thought process is,
I don't know if
you're not stuck buying that model of car. You'd be like, oh, I bought this car, but it doesn't have the heated steering wheel. You can start turning those features on.
Or if in the winter,
But you're getting into this, I always mess up what it's called. What is it? SOS, software as a service, or subscription as a service. That's it. Subscription as a service. So it's like you're going to have a BMW subscription. And then it becomes
an interesting future.
Thing.
Yeah.
It is, but I just, in pinball... I'm like, I want the code updates.
Yeah.
Tying a mode to the toppers. Is it cool? If you build a great topper, you don't need to have a mode to get people to buy it.
That's true. Yeah.
And that's the way I look at it.
I wonder if this is going to continue or if this was just a, throwing, ideas out and seeing what would stick or anything. Now, I was telling you before we started taping the last episode that I wouldn't call it, it's not like the mode in Jurassic Park, but when I put the Black Knight topper on, there's some call-outs that got unlocked, which was cool.
Yeah.
They wouldn't make sense if you had them in there. Like he said, hey, like you look tiny from up here, and hey, keep your drinks off the glass, punks.
But it's an added thing.
Yeah.
And it moves. It's animatronic. I love that. And
he's really cool.
It's got flames and everything.
He's cool.
I'm like, but when I see the ones like the Elvira topper, I don't know if it's going to do
couch?
anything, but...
Yeah, it just sits there.
It's the crypts.
Oh, that's what it was. It was the crypts. Yeah,
and it's
I was thinking of another one.
Even if something just kind of pops out of that, I'm like, it's $1,000.
I bet you nothing happens with that thing.
That's 20% of a quality used pinball game, a good one. And
well, you saw that one video where they were saying, "All right, let's just see where the limit is. Let's keep going." They bought the Black Knight when they bought the Jurassic Park when they bought all of them.
400 to 500 to 600 to, on up, and now we're at $1,000. I'm like, you lost me at like $600. I was out. It's got to be awesome at $600.
Well, and I made a video when I got that topper, and I said at the end of that video, which I do regret, I've been made fun of more than once for it.
I didn't see the very end, so you tell me what you say, and then maybe I'll make fun of you again.
Well, you can. I take it back though now.
Okay.
I did not pay $500. It was a little under $500, but I said, "Is it worth $500?" No, and I take it back. It is worth $500,
well,
especially seeing.
Was it 5?
It was
500?
It was like 4. I want to say it was like 480 or something stupid like that. But yeah, it was worth it.
That to me is
seeing
worth it.
Jurassic Park's reveal for its topper.
600.
Yeah, and it's 3 pieces of plastic.
Yeah,
that's no.
But you get a mode. I'm like, that better be a damn good mode.
It better be, because I can barely get through the modes that are free with the game right now.
Seriously.
I'm terrible at that game. That's why I kind of like it. But no, I get it. It's interesting looking into what the world is going to be future wise. What they're going to continue with. What's going to stick. What's not going to stick. And again, we are way past
I'm ready for a bathroom break.
We're going to go for 3 episodes here? I don't know.
I'm in. It's up to you.
I don't know.
This is my pinball day.
But so let's stop yet again. And if we don't do a third one after this, we will definitely have you back.
Well, I enjoyed it. Thank you. It's always fun. I love getting together and talking pinball.
Yeah, easy back and forth. We could do this all day. We have been doing this for hours now.
We talked for about an hour when I got here.
We talked about an hour when you got here. We talked about an hour on the first episode. We talked about 30 minutes in between episodes, and we've talked about another hour now. So, and you're still not sick of me, which is rare. So
that's awesome. I love it.
This is fun. So again, Craig from Hurry Up Pinball, Twitch, YouTube. I'm going to put all the links there. We thank you. What a fun time we have had, and he's got great stuff. Go check out his channel, and we will see you again real soon.